Patrick Cook here. Hey, thanks for joining me in the next session. We're talking about the Mandelbulb 3D software, and this is a tutorial series that is focused on an actual animation of a Mandelbulb 3D. Now, in the previous discussions, I was talking about the far plane, we were talking about the field of view, talking about the camera types, and it just goes even further back. So listen, if you're coming into this, and you haven't picked up on the earlier sessions, I really encourage you to do so, because as I go along here, I'm going to make the assumption that you understand what the far plane is, for instance, because I have discussed it. So if you're coming in late, I encourage you to go back to session 1 and view those and catch up. Now, let's talk about the navigation within the Navigator. All right, so let's put our attention on the Navigator here. Let's not be so crazy here. Let's fix this from the last session. I'm going to put this back to 50. I'm going to put this back to, say, 5,000. All right, far plane. We'll keep it on standard camera. All right. So this is where I'm at. This particular position within the scene is where I'm at here, and I have the ability to navigate. Now let me just turn your attention back over to main. All right, I'm going to push this field of this view back over to main. I'm going to recalculate it just so we know what we got. I'm going to pull this tab down here, and this is our current position. All right, our Z position. All right, and then of course we have our X and our Y position. Now, if I come back over to the Navigator, I can show the coordinates on the screen. All right, so Z is depth. All right, X is left and right, and Y is up and down. So my coordinates here. I'm going to go one step further, and I'm going to turn on the guides. Now, the guides are kind of helpful because they help kind of understand where your center point is. The coordinate does too. That point right there, that's your exact center in terms of your view. All right, and if I turn on the guides, that's helpful too. I usually like to work with the coordinates and the guides turned on. For just purposes of understanding where we're going here, I'm allowing the automatic zoom to continue to stay active. We talked about that in a previous session. So I'm going to keep this unchecked so that the automatic zoom will work. I'm keeping this on standard camera. I'm keeping this on a 50, which gives us a nominal field of view. And I'm just keeping this on a far plane of 5,000, just as kind of an arbitrary number. Let's navigate around. Now, you have the ability to walk forward, to walk back, or reverse. Everything is with respect to the camera. You are the camera. You have no other view. You can't switch over and see top down and left and right and bottom. You can only see in the Mandelbulb 3D, you can only see the scene from your point of view, and you are the camera. You can't change that. So everything In the Navigator, and also in the main as well, everything in the Navigator is your point of view as if you were the camera. So you have the ability to walk forward. Every time I click that, I walk forward, or I can walk back. I'm walking back. All right, now my far plane is kicking in. That's why things are starting to drop out, because my far plane, as you remember, what is beyond the far plane is not rendered. It's not visible. Let me go forward again here. Okay. All right. So I can walk forward and I can walk in reverse. I can also look right and I can look left and I can look up and I can look down. All right. Now the steps here, this is called walking forward, walking back. These are the number, and I have no idea. Oh, okay, percent of DE. Okay, right, okay. So this is, we'll talk about what that DE means later. The greater the number in the sliding and walking step, the further you're going to walk. If I put 100 in there and I walk, you see I walk forward much more. Let's go back to 20. All right, you see. So walking is the amount of walking forward or reverse that you do is dependent upon that value in there. Now, looking is dependent upon this number right here. The greater that number, the further you're going to look left or right or up or down. So I look up, I look down, I look right, I look left. So this is walking. I'm sorry, this is looking, this is walking. Now we also have sliding. Now I can slide right, or I can slide left, or I can slide up, and I can slide down. All right? It's the combination of those things. Let's say that I want to get a view more over in here. So I'm going to slide over, as my field of view is cutting in here. So there's a lot of things are dropping out, but I'm going to look. There we go. So I'm looking right. Now I'm going to walk in. Okay. So there we go. Let's keep walking in. Every time I press my mouse button, all right, or the W key, I walk forward. Every time I press my mouse on this button or my S key, I walk backward. I walk in reverse. E key, A key, D, and C and Q will do the sliding. And then, what do I got? J, I, L, and K will do the looking. I also have rotate. All right. Rotate. All right, so sliding, walking, looking, rotating. So with a combination of those things, I can put myself virtually anywhere I want to be within the scene, keeping in mind that everything is from your perspective as if you are the camera. No left, right, up, down, top, none of that stuff. You just, all right. One last thing, and then we'll quit this session. If I hold down the Shift key, I will have the value that we have assigned for, in this case, looking or rolling. So if I look, let me reverse that. I hold down the Shift key, you see how I looked half as much. All right, look Shift key, Shift key, Shift key. All right, now no Shift key. You see? All right, so the way to have the movement is to hold the Shift key down. That would be true in the slide as well. Got the Shift key is held down, slide, 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 slide. Shift key is not held, slide, 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 slide. So you can fine-tune your position by holding down the Shift key. All right? Now, you'll notice here that I have dramatically changed my position with all these navigation controls. And this is where I had last pushed this to main. And these were my X, Y, and Z coordinates the last time I had pushed it to main. Now I'm going to press this to main again and keep an eye on all of these figures here. They'll change. There we go. So the exact coordinates, the X, the Y, and the Z coordinates have been maintained and captured. Everything about this Mandelbulb 3D software application is all about numbers. We get to see the visual part because the numbers are rendered out as pixels. So we actually think that we are designing a graphic. In reality, what we're doing is we're manipulating numbers that will then be rendered into a graphic. But that's all the under the cover stuff. We don't care about that. We are artists, and we are attempting to make really cool graphics with this rather capable software. So when we return, we'll talk a little bit more about these navigation points and a little bit more finer detail. I'll see you in the next session.